So as I mentioned, I'm part of finance innovation and the cluster coordinating the FIND project. We are a cluster on digital finance sector. We are based in France. We are based in Paris. We gathered around 600 members that have from different kind of profiles. So we work a lot with the startups from different maturity stages, from early stage to scale ups. But we also work with corporates, with academics, with consultants and investors, and this is actually the heart of the topic today. FIND is a project funded under the European Commission and under the program Horizon Europe, and we work on this project together with 7 other partners. So we are working on this with Across Limits from Malta, from Crowdfunding Hub from the Netherlands, F6S and the Fintech Corridor from Ireland, Impulse for Women from Spain, Raw Fintech from Romania, and Travel Capital from France. So this project aims, in one hand, to bring more investment to underserved ecosystems, and as a consequence also to help startups to grow, and also in the other hand to promote diversity and inclusivity in the investment world. FIND will create many things, but some of them are the academy that will work on key investment topics. We also allow investors to connect to each other. We propose recommendations to the Commission, and we'll create a knowledge base. And this is something we will present in the next minutes by one of our partners leading this task, Travel Capital. We cannot see the slides anymore. I cannot see them at least. I'll continue. We have also prepared a panel session with 3 investment experts that will discuss with us about the challenges in their countries, but also about use cases, about successful cross-border co-investment. And that will also let us, give us an overview on how innovative initiatives can help investors to grow and build new collaborations. At the end of this session, we will present the platform we have created for investors to match and to be able to learn more about new ecosystems in Europe, hopefully create new synergies, and also, yes, hopefully start collaborating together. So please don't forget to ask all the questions, on the chat. And Carolina, we cannot see the slides anymore. Yes, perfect. Well, having said this, I will pass the floor to the next presentation, and Travel Capital, as I mentioned, they are leading this part, and they will present us the mapping and ecosystem they have prepared. But Senna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gisela. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bożena Adamczyk. I'm a partner at Travel Capital. Travel Capital is this venture capital fund with over 500 million assets under management, active in growth stage in fintech and insurtech at the European level. In fintech field, we invested in 21 startups. And the latest fund focused on innovative deep tech startups with financial industry. And the target are characterized by strong growth potential with recurring revenue around 5 million euro. At the FIND project, Travel Capital is responsible for the ecosystem knowledge base and investor mapping. So maybe you can move to the next slide, please. And the objective of this mappings are to provide investors with the platform with useful insight on the current VC landscape, and with the tool to invest in all regions of Europe, also this one less known, as well as to promote new investments into fintech targeted countries. In the first part of the project, 10 countries are in the scope. As you can see, these countries are from the Eastern and Western Europe. Next slide, please. For this project, we have created the investor mapping, which is a framework to unify European investors with typical information such as type, stage, and approach investments, but also value-added information such as investors' contact and website to foster direct connections between investors and directly go into funds portfolio easily. Also number of offices and countries to understand focus and network, and investment coverage to better understand the fund investment thesis. This knowledge will help to increase visibility for the investors registered to the FIN platform, then promote to the co-investments and help to fill in the information gap for less connected countries. Next slide, please. Let's focus now on the current status. So far, we were able to map 170 European investors from 10 different countries. In total, we mapped investors that represent more than 100 billion assets under management. It's also interesting to see that in Eastern Europe, vast majorities of funds are early stage funds and rather small, where the average fund size is around 50 million, and they do investments in all sectors and are B2B focus, the majority. Currently, the majority of our investors are in France, but hopefully this proportion will change once the platform for matchmaking will be live and the investor will start to exchange and look for new opportunities via our platform. So regarding the future milestones, by end of this month, you will be able to register and connect via platform with other investors. We also expect to do online meeting sessions for investors in the first semesters this year, and also personal meetings in the second semesters, also in different countries in Europe. Next slide, please. Sorry. The next part of the project is the ecosystem mapping, which is prepared on the country level. In this ecosystem knowledge, we will be able also to find the information about stakeholders such as fintech startups, associations. So to give you some examples, in Ireland, the Irish Fund Industry Association is the representative body for the international investment fund community. In Romania, also Rofin.tech, which is an association created by 16 Romanian fintech companies to foster vertical innovation in the fintech space. Also, you will be able to find the trends, including market analysis, regulatory and fiscal networks, collaboration amongst fintech and governments, including association or business collaborations. So to give you also some examples for market analysis, in Greece, 2022 was a record year for exits with more than 19 exits and notably the Viva wallet. Or you will find the information also about this regulatory and fiscal networks. We collected some information, like for example, in Spain, that the government increased the deductibility for investing in startups from 30 to 50% to foster new investments. Or in Romania, there is one significant regulatory change related to POS. So from January, all merchants with the revenue higher than 10,000 will have to equip themselves with electronic POS terminals. Sorry. As an example of collaboration among fintech and governments, in Spain, Malaga Tech Park is leading the way for public-private corporations. focused on the economy and innovations, and putting together over 630 companies. Or in Cyprus, the India Innovation Center, non-profit organization, supports startups and innovative SMEs. You will be also able to find information about governmental policies, such the one focusing on impact, the one creating jobs or gender parity, or the one increase numbers of funds in the countries, as well as sustain local VC ecosystems by attracting talents and startups to relocate to these countries. To give you also some examples, France, and BPI especially has some massive power to invest in VC space. So this is an example of increased number of funds, policies, governmental. Or in Romania, the government will receive up to 75 billion euros. And it will be also part of this dedicated to fintech startups. Also in Cyprus, the government has launched the Cyprus Startup Visa, a scheme that enables entrepreneurs from outside of Europe to enter Europe and to work in Cyprus to establish a startup there with high growth potentials. So as you can see, if you, thanks to this ecosystem, you will be able to get information about the countries where you, as an investor, you don't know. So, and you can learn more and find co-investors there thanks to our platform. Next lines. So far, we have, for this ecosystem knowledge database, we covered 8 European countries. We have obtained more than 250 policies, trends and regulation shaping the future of fintech. We have identified more than 11 fintech events available to the European investor communities. Especially, we try to list the ones which are qualitative for the fintech investors. And also we have identified useful service providers. So in Greece and Romania, we have listed some local lawyers firms focusing on fintech. In Ireland, as an example, the European Digital Innovation Hub that supports early stage startups. So to give you also some background about future milestones, this investor and ecosystem mapping you will be able to find on our platform by end of this month. And the ecosystem knowledge database will be filled for 10 countries in first semester this year. But please note that this ecosystem will be updated on the regular basis at first stage by Fin network partners. So once you are an investor in the Fin network, you will be also to connect with the Fin partners, give a feedback and provide also some suggestions how to improve the ecosystem knowledge database. So thank you so much. So this is a short background about investor and ecosystem mapping.
Perfect. Thank you, Botsina. I think now we go. We will keep going with the panel. Angel and to our guests. I give you the floor now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gisela. And I think we need to remove the slides so that people can see us chatting together. Okay, so good morning, everybody, to the panel session. I am Angel Giuliano, one of the partners of the project, and my company, Across Limits, we help organizations getting non-diluting finance, but me personally, I am also a business angel. Now, with me, I have three great people that I would now ask to switch on their camera, please, and slowly introduce themselves. So let's start with Suzanne. Suzanne, can I give you the floor? You have 3 minutes to tell us a bit about yourself and your background in investing.
Thank you, Angel. And first of all, congratulations from a very snowy Netherlands. It's a really big day, and congratulations on launching the network today. Thank you for having me. For me, I've always had a passion for scaling companies that create a better future with financial and capacity building support. So I started 15 years ago in a fintech platform, a crowdfunding platform for good, in the Netherlands, and later with a fintech platform in Nigeria. And to enhance the sector, I was very curious about, what was happening in the European space. I became a founding member of Eurocrowd, which today still exists and is a great fintech association for crowdfunding platforms. Well, since then, I've worked for various teams in the investment industry. So for team entrepreneurs, I've worked as a CEO for the European Social Enterprise Network. For team private funding, I've worked for various impact funds in Africa and Europe, and currently also in a public funding with InvestEU as a committee member. InvestEU is a huge fund from the European Commission that is boosting innovative and sustainable investments in Europe, taking away the highest risk for the private investors. So when I mentioned various teams, I think in the end it all comes down to how these teams work together and are going after the same goal. And that is really to scale companies that enhance solutions for the challenges that we are facing. So I'm also very interested in seeing how we can make sure that we have a level playing field. And we'll come to that a little bit later. Also work a lot with women investor groups. So this discussion is for me right at the heart at what is important to me. And I'm really thrilled to be here with you, Angel, and also with Denise and Milen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Milen, we ask you to go next and tell us a bit about yourself and your background, please.
Thank you. My name is Milen Ivanov, and I'm managing partner of Sofia Angels Ventures. This is a venture capital fund based in Sofia, Bulgaria, that invests all around EU. Our main investor in the fund is European Investment Fund, EIF. So we have a mandate to co-invest alongside private investors. That includes angels, family offices, and private venture capital funds. We started 3 years ago with 13 million funds to invest across Europe. And we so far have 16 companies in our portfolio, including fintech, health tech, HR tech, manufacturing, etc. But we have 2 more years to co-invest. So our strategy is to always co-invest with other investors and to match their funding, at least their funding. I'm also founder and chairman of the biggest angel network in Bulgaria, established 7 years ago. It's called Bulgarian Angels Club. It has around 100 members at the moment, and we invested in more than 100 companies. Our members have invested in more than 100 companies throughout these years, and it's the biggest and most active angel network in Bulgaria so far. Yeah, that's from me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Milen. And last and definitely not least, Denise.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here with you this morning. My name is Denise McQuaid, and I'm one of the 4 co-founders of AwakenAngels, which is the first and only women-led investment syndicate on the island of Ireland. So we are covering both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland in the investments that we will endeavour to scale and hopefully exit as we continue to grow. Our mission has been kind of twofold: to really leverage the opportunity to deploy more female capital into women-led organizations, but also to democratize the process for women on the island. So our angel investments indicate your minimum ticket size is 2,000. So really to make it accessible for the many and not the few. Angel investing is often seen for those high net worth individuals and those exited entrepreneurs that can deploy their capital again. But one of our missions was to make sure that it was democratized and it was accessible to many. We have led out from AwakenAngels with a, I know we will cover this further in the opportunity to speak to you with you today, but we have been very much leading in terms of the training component. So making not only it accessible, but making it understood as an asset class. So it's very important to us as a syndicate that everybody comes on the journey together, those very experienced angels with incredibly significant portfolios and those that are just starting out on the journey. And we learn from a peer-to-peer perspective, and an education perspective is at the heart of what we do at AwakenAngels.
Brilliant. Thank you very much to everyone for introducing themselves. Now let's dive into a bit of questions. And first, we're going to look at some challenges and then hopefully some solutions. So Suzanne, I'm going to start again with you. And, you know, our aim here also of this project is to get investor ecosystems better connected together within Europe. Could you tell us a bit what you see being done here and what are the challenges of doing this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Angel. Well, if you look at the investor ecosystem, and yeah, of course, we're focusing here on fintech companies, building better technology solutions. If you look at the ecosystem, it's really important that these companies, you know, are strengthened by their ecosystem, because they're not just the companies, but also the investors, both private and public, and academics and consumers and policymakers. And especially today, I think, you know, after decades of hypergrowth, we have a new era of value creation, focuses more on sustainable, profitable growth. Investors are adapting to higher interest rates, especially in getting loans and inflation. But also it creates a lot of opportunities, because I think we're in a once in a generation technology revolutions. So we're expecting the unexpected, of course, and more than ever, it is important to have a strong investor ecosystem in Europe and to really team up. And I've learned this as the CEO of the European Social Enterprise Network, how much that can bring and bring forward the sector, really. So there are a few major challenges in Europe, and I'll just single out two. First and foremost is the fragmented landscape. So we have a business environment that is characterized by stability, innovation, and technological developments, but it's very fractured, because we have, of course, different languages, different cultures, currencies. It's not one ecosystem. That's what we also see in the InvestEU proposals. There's a lot of differences in market structure, maturity, access to capital, regulatory landscape. So in the Netherlands, for instance, we get a lot of foreign direct investments because of the favorable corporate tax environment and multiple investor protection treatment. So it's very different. It's a strong ecosystem and well mapped. And then, and of course, I'm sure we'll hear from Milen as well, that it's a different story in other parts of Europe. But then secondly, there's a huge lack of diversity and equity and inclusion progress in the VC space. And to make a strong ecosystem, we really need to get everybody on board. And we need people to really put their weight around changing the figures and attitudes in the market to get better DEI initiatives as well. So what's being done to tackle these challenges currently, and I'm sure that the discussion will go further from there, but I see that in networks, investors are getting better organized. So we have Invest Europe in the Netherlands, we have Holland Fintech, we have all kinds of women groups. Denise will get into that even more, like Women in VC Europe, European Women in Payments Network. But also I see different types of investors working together, much like Milen showcased just now. With InvestEU, one example is October, a European, pan-European fintech company that recently acquired investments, amongst others, from the EIF, which is really essential to crowd in other private investors. So I think that's really important to create, you know, better scaling, better internationalization. And we see a lot happening, but a lot more is to be done there.
Thank you, Suzanne. And in fact, I want Milen now to come in and give us maybe a case study. I know that his Sofia Angel Ventures, they are almost pioneers in this, that they don't just invest in one country, but they grow abroad. So could you share a little bit your experience of how can investors actually coming from different regions of Europe work together on an investment, please?
Actually, it's an interesting thing. I was thinking what to say that without value is it's about the strategy. And when you start to be an investor, it's first to have this strategy in mind. If you want to do it, and if your LPs, limited partners, allow you to do it. So we were lucky that EIF trusted us and said, okay, 50% of the capital should be for developing the local angel investment ecosystem, but the 50% could be invested anywhere else where you can find brothers and sisters that would like to share your vision in the investment thesis. So first you have to have the right to do it, so you can, and the willingness to do it. And then the thing is whether it will happen or not it depends very much on your network that we were talking about. You need to have people that you trust that actually will share with you a good deal and not a crappy one, just to have more funding for the next stage of their development. So, and that takes time. That takes events like this. That takes going to meeting people, getting to know them. So we never invest in another country if when we are the lead investor. So we are looking for another lead investor. That means that the quality of the lead investor is very important, and you have to know them, and they have to trust you. Sometimes we don't know them, but when we start to work on the deal, we realize that we build relation with them, and that's how we end up investing at the end of the day. So we have 16 companies in our portfolio, and I was counting that like 8 of them are actually in other countries. We have one company in Sweden that was referred to us by an angel that we know. And then we have a company in UK, again, referred by an angel, 2 in Germany. This is coming from an angel network that I met 7 years ago in an event. So it's all building relation, but also having quality deals. So we don't invest in any deal that comes, and then it's a cross-border thing, and we just know the person. Of course, we have a very thorough due diligence process, and it's also important to say that we are early stage investors, that investing at seed level, you don't have a lot of data, you don't have a lot of history, so you need to know the people that you want to invest in, and if they are not from your location or nearby, living nearby, because angel investing is not inherently a local thing, you need to find a way to validate that through others, which means that, again, it's all about building good relation and getting to know other co-investors that you trust, and at the end of the day you invest together to achieve an impact and get some return.
Yeah, that's very true. I think trust is at the basis of everything. And in fact, Denise, how can we get, maybe you give us a bit from your experience, more women investors to maybe trust in the networks, in themselves, and in cross-border links?
Yeah. I think the lessons that we've learned since we launched AwakenAngels is that women don't see angel investing as an asset class or a potential, big element of their retirement portfolio or their own investment portfolio. And I think there's a lot more education for women becoming financially independent around stocks and shares, and investing in real estate and safe, what we would consider probably safe asset classes from that perspective. So I think one of the things from our journey and our lessons over long before we launched AwakenAngels, but collectively as angel investors, was it's not an understood asset class. And yes, it has all of the risky components, but if you are syndicating either within one community or cross-border with other angel groups across Europe or across the world, it can be a lot of fun. And so it can be not only an advancement of potential returns on the investments that you make, but also a great way to network and meet other people in other countries across the world. So I think actually making it one that demystifying that you have to have exited your company, or that you have to have a pot of gold sitting in the back garden to look at this investment asset class, I think needs to be taken out. And I think the education component needs to come to the fore. So in the 9 modules that we deploy from an AwakenAngels perspective, we start with the technical components of understanding angel investing. So take away when people talk about term sheets or tag along, or take away all of the knowledge gap that's there for the angels, and then really get them to understand how they can build their portfolio, you know, go into follow-on deals, look at other opportunities in other geographical locations, and be really brave about how they look at the businesses that we bring, not only to them, but that other syndicates bring to us in other geographical locations. So it's really taking away the negative and replacing it with a very positive story is for us an incredibly, you know, necessary piece, is demystify and educate.
Brilliant. Now, we've already talked a little bit about business angels and VCs, but Suzanne, I know that you also are also involved in other types of investors. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's coming up over there?
Yeah, I think you know, also hearing from Denise, you know, how you can bring in other types and have people in investing. There's also other types of players entering the market or becoming more important on the market. Because if we talk about, for instance, crowdfunding are becoming more and more involved in deals, which is really good to see, because I think it's a really good opportunity for fintech companies to also diversify their funders a little bit, but also to engage with a broader investor base. So you know, when it starts with fundraising and crowdfunding, but then I can really start a longer relationship with that. We also see a rise in corporate investors and certainly also family offices. But I have to say, also with the two latter, I think also we haven't spoken about this yet, but I think the latter are also very much attracted to carbon fintech. Just now, I think in Davos, we saw this week that 100 billion climate finance investment drive was announced. So I see a whole different kind of dynamic in that area, where other investors are stepping in and are really attracted to that market. To me, also, what's most interesting is to see how these more traditional and new investors can actually work together to create better financial instruments and better funding mixes.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, sometimes there are such a variety of things that, you know, we need, even as investors, we need to keep learning. We need to keep training. So I know that Denise already has touched upon it, but let me start with Milen. So Milen, we're trying, as you know, even as a project, to sort of build some training to help investors go cross-border. In your opinion, what topics should such a training contain?
So we are thinking about that with regards to cross-border investing. There are a lot of things that you can learn in general, how to be a better investor, what is going to be useful. I think it's about scouting the right deals. That's kind of the direction that this training should address. Where to find them, how to find them, and normally it will end up who to talk to and who to connect to. The training that actually directs you how to plug in good networks where sourcing can be done more effectively would be useful. But otherwise, it's more about having the right resources and just building the right strategy, how to do this effectively. Because, you know, Bulgaria is a small country, and normally if you want to be a specialist here in as a venture capital investor or professional investor, it's very difficult because you don't have a lot of deals to source. So in order for you to build a portfolio, you need to have thousands of opportunities and to filter them to few that you end up investing with. But if you open up to the bigger world like EU, or if you want to go to US, North America, and even if you want to go to Africa and Asia, then you have to be a specialist. Then you have to find your vertical and become good at it. That means that a good training in this direction will be to know your industry better. where are the good events, who are the good experts to talk to. So normally you would come from this kind of vertical, let's say from healthcare and for health tech, that if you develop this interest, but it doesn't have to be the case. You could develop this expertise in a different way. So I would say that scouting good deals is one of the trainings that you can work on, and the other thing is become good in the vertical that you want to develop for your cross-border investing.
Sounds good. What do you think, Denise? You agree with that? Do you have other topics to add?
Yeah, I do. I agree with all of that. I think for us being Irish and probably for everybody in some location, there is an Irish person in every city in the world, if not a huge community. So we've been very purposeful in leveraging our diaspora, both to come into our syndicate, whether you can be based anywhere in the world, and to join our syndicate and invest in women on the island of Ireland. But that works both ways. We can see deals coming to us from other geographical locations, from a founder that could be Irish but based in Berlin, or Irish and based in Boston. So I think one of the things is really important, and it's how you get to know other angels and other ecosystems and build that trust. So if you've got an Irish person in a syndicate with Sofia Angels with Milen, that deal could potentially come back to AwakenAngels. So it's building those, I think, anchors. And I think we need to leverage the trust that already exists from just your actual heritage and the passport that you hold, and then build on that as we build out the ability to look at deals in other geographical locations.
That sounds very practical, and we all have a lot of diaspora everywhere, so that is a great practical idea. Now, as you know, Define Project is going to aim, and we're going to tell you more also after this panel, what our plans are to help make cross-border investments happen. But what is your recommendation? And this I address to all of you. Because I know that there's a lot of buzz about this, but then it might all fall flat and people will not do anything. So what is your recommendation to us as a project of what we should do to make these cross-border investments happen? Suzanne, can I start with you?
Yeah, sure. I think that, with my experience in networks, both in crowdfunding and with impact enterprises and investor networks, people could just say, it's just another networks. Why do we need another one? There's so many around. But I think you've got a really good mission here. But my advice would definitely be built on existing networks. So really, take the strength of the networks that you already have. I think you have great partners already working on this. And then build on that and find out what makes this network stand out really, and what topics really matter. And hopefully you will be able to, for people to really meet each other and work together on the topics that they find most interesting. And perhaps in the future, get some policy recommendation out indeed, and make sure that you have that actionable causes.
We will be doing policy recommendations, believe me. Milen, what do you think? What's your recommendation?
It's difficult actually to stand out, because what I realize now that venture capital, angel investing has been growing a lot, and the number of investors and funds and capital available in the market in the last 5 to 10 years has tripled, quadrupled if you want. Of course, we have the last year a little bit going down, but now I think it will pick up because there's a lot of available capital. So every investor should find their competitive advantage, and normally this is some kind of a competence and some kind of added value that you obviously you're providing, and being specialized in this world also helps. So if you project yourself as someone specializing in something, it's much better than just another network, as Suzanne said, and another investor. Just these spoils the entrepreneurs and the founders, and they know that normally drives the valuations up, and that's not good for anybody.
Indeed. And Denise, what about you? What's your ideas?
So for me, it's back to the founders, and actually for them being treated respectfully in the investment journey and the ecosystem. I mean, we can syndicate and deploy capital, but at the end of the day, I think any community that is coming together to drive change or create policy, as Suzanne has said, needs to have the founder at the heart of it as well, and to make sure that in the cross-border best practice that the founder is not disrespected in that, and that there is an ability for cross-border to happen successfully and seamlessly, taking into consideration some of the geographical nuances that may happen from a founder from an investing perspective. Obviously, on the island of Ireland, we have a part that is in the UK with Northern Ireland, so we have all of the tax incentives that are based in Northern Ireland, and we don't have the same in the Republic of Ireland. So we have a dispersity of tax benefits from an angel investing perspective, even on the small island of Ireland. So you need to be mindful of that in how you deploy that capital and support the founder to understand those positives and negatives of those benefits as well. So founders are not always aware that the tax and then the governance and regulatory environment around cross-border investment is there and needs to be overcome, and it can be overcome, but there's an education journey at keeping the founder at the center of that education piece also.
Brilliant. Now we are at the end of our panel, but before we leave, I want you to give maybe in a sentence one message to either the attendees here or those that will be seeing this later as a recording. What is your recommendation for new investors that want to jointly invest with each other in just one sentence? Suzanne?
Yeah, I think also building on what Denise said, what do you want to make happen? Who do you want to support? And how can you as an investor make that happen for the investee? What are you adding? And then find your team of people to do it with.
Long sentence. Milen?
Okay, if you want to invest with others and you're new at that, just bring some value with your expertise. So this kind of supports my thesis for being specialized as an investor. If you're going to syndicate, just add value from what you already know.
Denise?
I think it's really important for any new investor to really think about the type of investor that they want to be and their own personal investment strategy and what motivates them to, it gets them excited about the opportunity. And it may be that it is a broad syndicate that's sector agnostic, that is working across multiple different industries, or it may be a very, very defined sector, an industry that they've grown up and built their own career in and now want to deploy capital in for if you've worked in financial services for 30 years and you've understood the nuances of that industry, then you may just want to invest in fintech or regtech or insurtech businesses. So I think it's really defining for any new investor is what is your own investment strategy and what type of investor do you want to be? Because the connectivity and helping these young companies open up doors, help them to network, help them to get that commercial opportunity and growth is part of being an angel investor. And if you don't see that as when you're deploying your capital, you need to be adding value, as Milen has said, to the businesses that you're investing in. So for me, it's very much about understanding the type of angel that you want to be, and then finding the networks and communities that suit your investment thesis and your own investment strategy perfectly.
Perfect. Thank you so much to all our panelists. This was a great little chat, and you will be seeing snippets of this here and there in social media. And I now pass back to Gisela for the continuation of the webinar. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you to the three of our guests. This was very useful and very insightful for us. So let's continue with the presentation of the platform. Carolina, I think we have prepared for us a video and also more surprises.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Carolina Oliveira. I am a communication manager at F6S. And today we will have an introduction video explaining a little bit how to join F6S as a company or an entrepreneur, as an investor, and how also to join Fine's matchmaking platform.
Hello, future innovators and trailblazers. Today, we're diving into the ocean of possibilities that the F6S platform offers for you. I'm here to guide you from the initial sign-up to fully unlocking the potential of F6S. So, without further ado, let's embark on this journey. F6S is a global innovation leader. With our digital-first approach to corporate innovation, we allow corporates to connect and innovate with companies all over the world. F6S is the #1 corporate innovation community with over 4.7 million founders and startups on F6S and our network of Scout analysts. Our reach is unparalleled. Over 1 million tech startups and SMEs and 4,000 corporates leverage F6S innovation framework to power their innovation strategies and drive positive outcomes ranging from partnerships to investments and M&A. First up, signing up. Navigate to f6s.com and hit the sign up button. Fill in your details or connect your LinkedIn or Facebook for a smooth sign-up experience. Verify your email and voila, you're ready to explore F6S. Next, create a company or startup profile. Head to Add Your and select Startup on your dashboard and fill in your venture's details. Remember, a compelling profile opens doors to collaborations, investments, and accelerators. Now let's explore how to join Fine Fintech Network. After logging in, you'll land on your F6S dashboard. Familiarize yourself with the platform and navigate to your profile by clicking on your profile picture or name. Add the requested details for your profile for a better user experience. If applicable, complete your startup or company profile. As said before, if you have a startup or company, click on Startup and create a new startup profile or fill in the details for your company. Make sure you provide comprehensive details about your venture. If your company is already listed on our site, just add this information to the details in your profile. So we're on to the next step. Search for Fine Matchmaking Network. On the F6S dashboard, use the search bar to find the Fine Matchmaking Network, or go directly to f6s.com/fine-matchmaking-network. Click on the accelerator's profile to learn more about it. If you're interested in joining our network, follow the next steps. Once on the accelerator's page, fill in the questionnaire that appears on the page. Provide all necessary information accurately and thoroughly. Click on the button Connect with Fine to express your interest in joining our investors network. After we've received your application, we will evaluate the answers provided and match you with other investors with similar profiles that can potentially become your partners in future ventures. Wait for the Fine Fintech Network team to review and approve your request. Make sure to check your email for notifications about the status of your application. Finally, engage with the accelerator community. Once approved, you'll be added to the Fine Matchmaking Network private group. There, you can actively engage with our community, participate in discussions, networking events, and take advantage of the resources provided. And that's it, a step-by-step guide to making the most out of F6S. Whether you're seeking investment, talent, or collaboration, F6S is your platform. Remember to stay active, engage with the community, and seize the opportunities F6S offers. Good luck on your entrepreneurial journey, and always remember, the future belongs to the innovators. For more resources, visit our website, fintechnetwork.eu, or follow our LinkedIn page, Fine, Fintech Network, and Ecosystem, where we'll be posting all the updates from our initiative. Until next time, keep innovating and reaching for the stars. This is signing off.
So thank you, everyone. Let's pass the word to Hannah.
Yes, thank you. So now we will go to the Q&A. So I saw one question from Bruno about the knowledge base. So each of the 250 trends summarized, synthesized. So generally speaking, how can the network benefit from those trends and policy and regulation? Bozena, if you can answer, please.
Yes, via platform, you will be able to filter the most important information in a specific topic that you are interested in. So by country, by type of information that you are looking for, and the main data about ecosystems will be also exposed on the first page of when we'll look at ecosystem. So
Thank you.
I hope that I answered.
I think so. And so like Suzanne said, we will update this database regularly. So yeah, you just have to check then on the website when, and it will be on the website at the end of this month. Carolina, can we share the PowerPoint again about the final remarks, please? Thank you. Just the next slide. So to finish off this webinar, so I would like to go through the key upcoming milestones we have for the project. So we will have the ecosystem and investor maps available on the website, and the final one will be in August this year, 2024. We will update this regularly, even after this date. But yeah, the final one, like the whole final one, will be available in August. Then we will have, in the first semester of this year, we will have several investment workshops and webinar. So if you are interested in those, just follow us on social media so you have the information about this. We will host also one matchmaking workshop and investor workshop at the Unchained Festival in Romania. So we will all gather there. So the date is June 20 this year. So that's it for this webinar. If you have other questions, you can still submit them in the chat or contact us via the website. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was really insightful, and feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and social media in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.